October 12th, regular meeting of the Bland County School Board to order. I'd like to welcome everybody. With that, Philip, if you do the invocation.
Lord, we thank you for the opportunity we have to come and meet this evening to conduct the business of our local schools and educating our children. God, we ask, Lord, that you'd bless our students. God, bless our teachers and staff, and God, all those that are involved. God, touch every family, Lord. These, Lord, that have needs this evening that are sick and afflicted, Lord, we ask, God, for your healing touch, God, to go out to those. And, Lord, to those in our community who have passed and who need the ministry of consolation, Lord, we ask you to bring comfort and peace in this time. God, now give us the wisdom, Lord, that James 1:5 says, Lord, that if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask. And so, God, tonight we ask. God, give us all wisdom, Lord, what to say, what to do. And God, help us, Lord, to honor you in everything we say and do tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first action is to approve the minutes of the September 21st regular meeting. The only thing I saw is, I think Region 7, the Roman numerals are backwards.
I caught that.
You made it Region 3. I'm not too good with Roman numerals myself.
I thought that's what they used when you went to school.
That was stone.
We just have to learn all that stuff, don't we?
Any other comments?
None.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Okay, the next item is public comment, and I'd like to do a little lead in to public comment because there's been some miscommunication and a lot of people are upset, and that wasn't the intent. So I'll try and clarify some things. State of Virginia has required that you have to offer both in-house and virtual studies, and that students, when they need to, can be able to switch from one to the other. This board was informed that the virtual studies were all on a semester basis, or what a lot of people call block basis. And that was the assumption we were under, that was the information we were given. And therefore the question was, what do we have to do to be able to have students transfer from in-house to virtual if some of the students are on a 7-period annual type year and other students are on a 4-period block type year? So what was requested was that a committee be put together and identify what actions it would take to put in a block format. Now, people felt that a block format had been approved. It had not. The question was, what would it take to put in a block format? What would it change? Then once we had identified as to how the block format would work, we could then do a comparison between the block format and our current format, and a decision could be made if changes were in order. Now, if this goes ahead in the way it was prepared, it will probably not be approved by this board. It will be approved by the new board. There'll be a new board here after January 1st, and it would be approved in time so that the curriculum could be identified for the next school year. At this point in time, it was a fact-finding, identifying what elements have to be in place to operate a block, And also, does that fit in better with remote learning? So there was belief by a lot of people that had been approved, that, and even the format of the committee somehow break down because it was an argument of, these are all the reasons you shouldn't have block. Well, that's not what we're asking for. What we're asking for is what would a block look like, and how can you compare it apples and apples with what we have? Not an opinion of how long children's attention are and all these other things. Now, I think everybody realizes that both patterns can work because both patterns are used throughout the state. And I think there's probably more on block than not on block, but that doesn't matter. We don't have to follow whatever other people do. But the idea was to have something where we could compare. And, nobody is, I don't think, is truly on a block schedule. Everybody is on a modified block schedule where certain classes do go the entire year, a lot of things like music and those type of things. And the question was, what would a block schedule look like in Bland, and how do we compare it to what we currently have? So it was to be a brainstorming of how do you create a block schedule, not do we move to a block schedule. And of course, the key to this was how do we meet the state requirement so that a student that starts having problems either with classes or with health sometime during the year can go from in-house to virtual or can return back to in-house and be at the same pace as the other students. Now, we've learned since then that some of the information we were given on the virtual was not accurate. And so one of the things we would like to do is to ask Cynthia Everett to present to the board just what is required to be able to do this transition back and forth that is required by the state. And that is part of this input as to is there something being driven from that standpoint to change what we currently do. We have a number of letters, and I mean, there may be some people signed up, all here to, all the ones I've read anyway, to talk against a block program. That's really not part of our agenda. It's not part, we're not at a decision point. And the committee is the one that is going to, at some point in time, make a recommendation to the board that the board will either honor or decide not to honor. But the point is, was not to argue the benefits, the goods and the bads of each, but to make something that could be compared. And also to resolve this issue that we had with going from in-house to virtual. Is that a better clarification, you think? Would you guys like to add anything to that?
I'll add, just because I was on that meeting. I wrote down most of the concerns and questions and so forth that I think it is pertinent for us to address going forward. But with that, those are things we'll work out to see how block scheduling versus our current 7-period day, what the difference would be, because that's something other to weigh. I mean, there's a lot of things that will affect, so we need to know those answers to those questions.
So at this point in time, we would like for inputs to be given to the committee, but we would like for the task of the committee, I guess, to be a little clearer in that we want a model created of if it was to be done in Bland County, what would it look like? And then how do you compare that to what we do? What are the pluses? What are the minuses? I mean, to say that we're not going to evaluate is never a very positive thing. So, there's a committee in place. The committee needs to do their job. Like I said, this is not something that's going to be addressed in this meeting or probably the next 2 meetings. It'll be something that's addressed early next year. And the thing is, if it should be decided to go that way, at that point in time, there will be a model that's needed as to how it moves ahead. The board's not going to vote for something when they don't know what that something is. So the thing is to identify what would block scheduling be, how would it look, how would it impact the students, how would it impact extracurricular activities, how would it, this key question of how does it work as far as being both in-house and virtual. And then at some point in time, the committee will need to present that to the board. But like I said, there'll be 2 board members on January 1st. And I'm sure, from a timing standpoint, it will be after the new board's in place. So just trying to lay out the situation as it is. With that, does anybody that signed up still like to discuss this, or Ms. Leftwich, would you like to discuss it yet?
Yes. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to go ahead and read what I had prepared. I was going to send in, and then I may add something. I've been here long enough that I've been a part of these discussions many, many times, and we have always landed back at the same outcome, that block schedule was not something that was for Blaine County. I'm not sure if you all are aware. I would think you are, but we have a very small student body. And with that means you can't have multiple classes scheduled multiple times throughout the year. We don't have the teachers that can fill those spots. I could go through a lot of the arguments and facts, but I just want to talk about some things that are relevant to me. I think the most important task that we have as a school system is to educate our students and to ensure that they are prepared for a future that allows them to accomplish all that they desire. Throughout the years, Blaine County High School has maintained very high SOL scores as well as student results in higher education. Just at the beginning of this school year, the teachers were congratulated on how well our SOL scores fared in the state of Virginia. And to say that this was an incredibly difficult past year is minimizing the school year. So I have to ask why, and I appreciate you trying to explain the why. Why are we trying to do something brand new in the middle of such a hard year, in the middle of a pandemic, when yet our school system remains very high academically and achieves very high academically? I do realize that other school systems have found success on block schedule, but I also know that many school systems have discovered a lot of problems and have gone back to year-round classes. I'm concerned about the pace that would be needed in my own classes if we were on a 4x4 block, especially with the Virginia SOL test, given and required for students to pass. So basically, material would have to be slimmed down because I'm going to have to spend a lot of time that I spend normally, but this time is now taken off of a semester instead of a year to prepare for a test and how to take and pass a test. So my material would decrease as well as student retention just because of the rate I would have to cover the material. Also, I do remember pointing out to you all, as you were unaware, that our students daily go to Tazewell County School System to attend the career and technical. They are not on block schedule. Not only do we have students that take vocational classes there, some take English to catch up. They have options, so that would cause another problem in scheduling within the school systems. I'm sure you all are aware that I have probably 20 plus years. I have had time in block scheduling. And even though it's going to allow students to take more classes per year, theoretically that sounds nice, but realistically, students don't want to take extra classes they don't need to graduate. Every student can graduate when they finish their 11th grade year if they took the classes they wanted. We have kids that will go out and get jobs their senior year just because they have classes they could take, but they know they don't need those classes. For those kids that are college bound that want to take college level classes, they're taking those. They're taking them on block schedule. There are very few kids that are virtually full-time. And so I would hate to think that all of this was going to be changed for just a few kids. I appreciate you speaking out at the beginning on the reasons, but I'm going to tell you, I'm not part of the committee. I already had an opinion, so I don't feel like, I needed to be on there. But you have upset the teachers. The way this came about, the timing of this, and the way it was handled. And apparently the first committee meeting, from my understanding. Teachers are upset. I appreciate all you're doing. I appreciate you listening to what I have to say, and I hope you will consider this and think about the value in pursuing and what the future holds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Guzzi?
Hello, I'm also a teacher. I'm a special education teacher and a math teacher. I feel as a math person, if you have half a year of math and then don't have math the other half of the year, it's going to be really hard for these kids to pick it back up. It's already a struggle when you just have a summer or a quarantine. And for that matter, if you think of a block schedule as getting quarantined for almost 2 weeks, that's a month of what they're getting quarantined for. So if this isn't going away, that's going to be a real dilemma when the kids get quarantined. And we're spending so much time and effort trying to get these kids caught back up. It's really, really going to be hard for a whole month, basically, of work to lose. As Ms. Leftwich said, I think we're trying to look at this because of virtual students. And the thing is, people don't realize how many virtual classes we already offer with Virtual Virginia and dual enrollment, that the kids that want to do that stuff are doing that stuff. And a lot of virtual kids are doing it because they don't want to deal with masks. And a lot of families are doing homeschool because they don't want to deal with masks. So if you want kids back in school, then maybe you should just try to do things more normal and think about the kids that are there that need help and are struggling. And they're going to struggle if they don't have a subject like English or math for half a year. That's going to be very detrimental. There are more and more cases of kids getting referred to me and other special education teachers, and it's only going to get worse if they're missing such huge chunks of time, being quarantined for like a whole month if they were on the block schedule. And yeah, Tazewell doesn't do it, so that means that would mess up our VOTEC kids. And I'll reiterate that yes, it would be hard for students that have special needs to concentrate for that long. And I have spoken to several of the teachers who are not here and didn't email that pretty much all say the exact same thing. So some of them did not want to stand up here or send it in, but a lot of them said the exact same thing that me and Mrs. Leftwich have said. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, you recommend we read the other three, or? Yep, okay. Okay, comment from Megan Bradshaw. Regarding the discussion of going to block schedule at the high school, I would like to express my opinion as both a teacher and a parent. This is a bad idea for the following reasons. Our SOL scores are good. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Cramming is not effective learning. I have attached links to studies showing we learn better over time in small increments. Absenteeism is higher than ever due to quarantining. On a block schedule, missing 1 day is like missing 2. Not having a subject for a semester at a time only leads to forgetting what you've learned, and in classes such as math or Spanish would be detrimental to success. This is the big one. Attention, I essentially have a block now. I have math second period and math supplemental third period. The same kids stay in class for 2 straight periods. Halfway through the third period, the attention wanes significantly. Sitting still for 100 straight minutes isn't good for anyone. Do you want to sit for almost 2 hours doing math? I do not. I do my best to break up the time and vary the activities, but it's still too long at one time. Since I essentially have a block already, I can confidentially tell you these students would not be ready for SOL by Christmas, which they would be doing if we were on a block schedule. Please don't put us on block scheduling. Kara Winkle. As a teacher at Bland County High School and a parent of 2 students who will be going to Bland County High School in the future, I feel the need to urge you to reconsider looking into changing our traditional 7-period school day to block scheduling. Many seasoned teachers at Bland County High School have valid concerns as to the educational experience our students would have with block scheduling, and it is now time to speak up. Block scheduling condenses a year-long course into a semester, yet the instructional time with students is not the same. In a 7-period day, with each class being 50 minutes long, a student would spend 9,000 minutes in a 180-day school year learning and mastering the subject. With a block schedule of 90 minutes class for 90 days, a student will receive 8,100 minutes of instructional time. That is a 900-minute deficit of learning time to block schedule, which is equivalent to 18 days with a 50 minutes period schedule. Coming from 12 years of teaching experience, I know 18 days of instruction time can mean the difference in students passing SOLs or passing classes. Block scheduling promotes cramming large amounts of information daily without having the time for students to grasp big concepts and then to retain these concepts over the 9-month gap between subject area courses. Another issue that many teachers are concerned about are students' ability to pay attention for 90 minutes in one subject area with block scheduling. When I was in the education department at Bluefield University, we were instructed on the attention span of students and how to keep them engaged. My professor drilled in us that students' attention span is their age in minutes, plus or minus a minute. How much would we be asking students to push them to focus 90 minutes when some are struggling after 12 to 15 minutes in class? The suggestion of taking breaks in a 90-minute class is often given, but that would just add to the instructional time lost in a block schedule. As senior sponsor, I am concerned that not seeing seniors on a daily basis year-round would cause some to slip through the cracks and not make it to graduation. Their senior year is such an important year to tie up loose ends and begin preparing for the future. Every day in our government class in which all seniors are enrolled, I spend a few minutes catching them up on senior information, senior dates, checking it on other classes, etc., to make sure that they are up to date and on track. My senior sponsor job truly becomes a mentorship with seniors in hopes that all make it to the graduation day. Only having half the seniors for the first semester and the second half during the second semester could be harmful for our senior success at Blaine County High School. Final issue that I want to address is the fear that many of us teachers have when it comes to rapport with our students. Sometimes I think Blaine County schools have always been successful in is our connection with our students. For many of our students, we are a constant for them. We are someone that these students can confide in, rely on, and be encouraged by. Unfortunately, for some students, it takes close to a semester before they can begin to open up for us and help them academically or emotionally. Building trust is sometimes a long road for these students. The reality with block scheduling is that by the time a student feels safe in our classroom, semester has ended and they never have a chance to make that meaningful connection. This worries us more than I can express in words. I appreciate your time in reading my concerns and hope you greatly consider them before making any future decisions on the subject. Okay, this one is from Jared Purdue. As you know, I am on the committee to look at implementing block scheduling, how to do so at Bland County High School. I've already spoke at length at one virtual meeting that had 2 school board members, 2 student representatives, multiple teachers, our administrator, and Mrs. Laura Radford, asking them not to implement that here in Bland County, and feel so strongly about this. I felt it imperative for our board and community to be aware of the very real dangers block scheduling inevitably proposes. I think the teachers, parents, and students in Bland County are worried about the effects of block schedule would have on our school, our students, the arts, band, foreign language, ag, sped, CTE classes, our consistent curriculum, our pacing, grade timetables, student and teacher relationships, planning, changes in planning time, the huge gaps in student learning and student achievement, impracticability, and lack of continuity that a block schedule brings. I hate to think that what it will do to our band program, the kids in the school, if implemented. I know everyone is doing research, and the research suggests benefits or cons in certain areas, but I've seen firsthand in my over decade of teaching, time and time again, what this does to arts programs, especially in small schools. This is not just from studies or what happens in larger programs. I meet with our district band director several times a year, and I've seen and heard nothing but horror stories from block scheduling. I literally got emails from our district this week on how block scheduling, especially 4x4, kills band programs. The Virginia Band and Orchestra Directors Association District 7 is from Pulaski down to Bristol and over to Wise. It's all of Southwest Virginia. I've heard of programs from around the state who can only meet one semester of the year, programs who continuously lose kids because of scheduling programs whose size has been cut in half, bands who have an endless and consistency of conflicts in scheduling due to the very nature and rigidity of block scheduling. How difficult it is to teach when learning is not consistent, and all the other problems in which the in between that slowly erodes away at solid arts programs over time. I've contacted so many directors already, and the outcome is almost always the same, and it's never positive. Block scheduling guts the arts and reduces both the size and quality of programs. I've spoken to and contacted band directors in our area who have been forced through this process and know what it has done to their programs and students. I've seen it. And my sincerest hope that we can keep what we've built here over the past 7+ years. COVID and poor scheduling at the start of last year has already put a huge dent in our program and all programs here in the county, one that we are trying desperately to fix, all while also trying to actually improve. There is no positive way forward for our band or our kids that also includes block. And every teacher and student I've talked to here feels the same. I'm hoping the board will make aware of our very real concerns and that our students, staff, and teachers do not want block scheduling in our school. I hope that my honesty and experience, the voices of Blaine County teachers and students, experienced band directors, and band parents will be accounted for in any future board decision. I know our principal, superintendent, and all school board members want nothing but the best for our students. I hope you will rely on the expertise and experience of our teachers and staff, because we, like you, are against anything that will hurt the arts, our band, and student learning here in Blaine County. Mr. Jared Perdue. Okay, so I think our next step forward then is for Cynthia to give us a report on how we can meet the requirements of the state. Is that good, Scott?
Talk to her tomorrow.
Okay. Okay, next thing is VSBA Bullying Prevention Month.
Yes. This is Bullying Prevention Month, and this was sent to us by the governor. And he states, whereas school bullying has become an increasingly significant and prevalent problem throughout the Commonwealth and the nation, and whereas it is estimated that more than 20% of United States youth are involved in bullying each year, either as a victim or as an aggressor, and whereas bullying can assume many forms, including verbal, physical, emotional, and cyber, and can happen both on and off school grounds. And whereas it is important for Virginia parents, students, teachers, and school administrators to be aware of and address bullying and to encourage discussion of the problem as a school community. And now for I, Ralph S. Northam, do hereby recognize October 2021 as Bullying Prevention Month in our Commonwealth of Virginia. And I call this observance to the attention of all our citizens.
Okay. Next item, is there an enrollment report in our, that was printed out?
It's on board docs, but I
Okay.
have a hard copy.
must not been on there when I looked at it earlier.
Do you need a hard copy?
Do you have one?
On the copier. I actually printed them.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute. Let me go into financial reports while they're doing that. The financial reports now have the budget included. Appreciate that. The revenues come from, it's basically a page and a half of different sources. And each of these sources has their own requirements and their own tracking, and so that's $28,000. That's really the only one that we're behind on receiving. So far, we've only gotten $5,000, and that money will start coming in. Right, but we have spent a fair amount. No, Laura, you were working with Beth on that this morning? Yes, please, yes.
Yes, Beth was here and we worked on this today. As far as our Esr funding goes, we have 3 pots, Esr 1, Esr 2, Esr 3. All of our Esr 1 money has been spent. We're just waiting on, but that money has been spent. Our Esr 2 funds, that has all been allocated to. Most of that is for payroll. We're using that for our IT people, our nurses, aides. So all of that money is also gone now. Our Esr 3 funds, we have not sent in for reimbursements for that yet because we have not received our allocation from DOE. That has to be sent to us through Omega. It was supposed to be here October 1st. It's not there yet, so we're holding those invoices from.
Where we're behind on getting those funds, and it's a paperwork issue as the projects process through. Everything looks good, and we're running on track for the budget. The next thing is the annual school report, which basically goes over what happened last year, and glad to see a couple of the candidates for school board here tonight, and hope the other ones maybe are viewing us. This report actually is a summary of everything that happened during the year, and you can kind of read it and see what changed. And one of the keys was the school budget last year, or the school expenditures, I should say, as it ended up, was $9,474,169. So almost $9.5 million. If you look at the county budget, the schools are the lion's share of the county budget. And this expenditure last year was $1,132,000 higher than the year before. And you kind of go, okay, what happened here? Well, basically, there's a couple of things. One is with the COVID situation, there were a number of programs, some of which you were, I'll say, obliged to do, and some of which you were allowed to do or made available to you. And one of the things that we've become here in this office is very aggressive in going after funds. So you've got to look at this, that people, in addition to their normal job, went after these funds and then properly executed the use of these funds. So that meant that we spent an additional, like I say, $1,132,000 last year in the school system. None of this which impacted, the county as far as a taxpayer standpoint goes. If you look at some of the critical things and what happens in this, we spent $5,401,000 on instruction. One of the things that's jumped up substantially last year because of COVID was health services. We spent $648,000 on health services in the school system. Pupil transportation was $573,000. The other thing that went up substantially, we were required, even for the students that weren't in school, and actually anybody that fell into the age range in the county, to provide food and deliver it to their homes in many cases. The food budget, or the food expenditures last year were also were $588,000. So a lot of money spent on feeding the students in the county. Technology, things had to be done because of remote technology and that, and Ms. Tate did a great job in covering the needs there, and the expenditure for that was $449,000. Again, additional money brought in and used so that people could do things remote. And that spent on the facilities.
You want the breakdown between management and building
Yeah, I was
services?
trying to,
Here it is.
there's a breakdown on how much was spent on utilities, which was goes in
Okay.
that number. That's what I was trying to find real quick, but I'm not sure exactly where that's at. But, you know, the utilities are in that number, but it's basically operating the facilities in Rocky Gap, Bland, and Bastion. So, and the improvements that were made with the, a lot of the improvements in all the facilities. So there was $1,345,000. So a lot of things went on last year, which put a lot of load on, I'll say, everybody in the organization, even starting at the students. So students, teachers, administrators, everybody stepped up and went after money where we could get money and spent the money in accordance with the requirements. So very successful year, and
Do you want that utilities number?
yeah, please.
It was 178,482.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So it was, I mean, the school system is a major business in the county, both from money that is spent here and from people that are employed. So it's very important to the future of the county as well as the future of the students and everything. So definitely a critical business. Okay, with that, we'll go back to the attendance. Now, in these numbers, these virtual people that are off-site, are they included in these numbers or not?
Look at the high school numbers.
Okay, and how many of them do we have at the moment?
50. 47.
47?
You look at that 10th grade class and you have 95. So.
Right, okay. We need to change this report to make that visible to us, if you wouldn't mind. Yep. And what that is we have students that are not in Bland County who we're sponsoring in these remote programs. And that allows us to get the funding for these students. And the funding for a student is in the range of about $10,500 a year. So, you know, there's 10 of them, that's 100,000. If there's 50 of them, that's 500,000. So,
Isn't that minus whatever?
right, minus our cost, but our cost is $2,500 a year, something like that. So we gain about $7,000-8,000 in that range. Okay, right now in numbers we're showing our enrollment is up by 49. So if you take the 47 out, we're up by 2 from last year at this time, which is, to be honest, very good because for year after year we've been declining.
Yep.
So. And our kindergarten class, which we always look at, is 45, which is about becoming our average size in our elementary school. Okay, any questions, any of that? If not,
So just to ask a question on the 10th grade, why is there so many of the virtual students in 10th grade
They
versus?
just landed in that grade level.
Okay,
We didn't have any choice, and we'll see how it goes this year.
right.
There's a lot of restrictions on virtual kids. They can't miss school, they can't drop below a certain GPA, so I feel like we'll be okay as far as all those things go.
Okay.
Now, there's none in the senior class, is there? Laura, do you know if there's any in the senior class, these virtual students? None? Okay, so we have 51 seniors. Like I said, we got 45 kindergartners, we got 51 seniors.
Would it be possible in this report, when we have the virtual students broke out, to put in-county virtual students and versus out-of-county virtual students as well? Can we do that?
Okay, updates, principals?
You're up.
Okay. Well, good evening.
Hello.
Greetings from everyone at Bland County Elementary School. You just spoke about our enrollment is at 347 as of today. We kind of give you an update on where we are with COVID-related absences. As of this week, we have 10 students who are out, which is a nice low number. I'd like it to be a little lower for health reasons, but from where the numbers were previously for just quarantine-based ideas. And that's COVID-related. That's not to say that these students are COVID positive. They just have had some sort of interaction at some point. And then we have 0 faculty and staff out at this point. And then 21 students in the Region 7 Virtual Academy, who have nothing to do with COVID, but, you know, just have those numbers in there for attendance purposes for you. Attendance rates, let me pass that paper out to you real quick. This is a 4-year average. I'll give you one guess as to which color represents the current,
Thank you.
without looking at the legend at the top.
Oh, my goodness.
Great day.
Now, it's a little misleading
Yeah.
in the fact that those are based on
We're
my,
used to being misled, so.
well, yeah, you know, I do what I can. If you use statistics the right way, that's what you do. You remember that at home, kids. So the idea there is that we have a significant dip there, and actually looks like an upside-down bell curve from the first week of school, and it's working its way back up. I mean, I've never seen straight points actually make a really nice curve like that on one of my graphs before. But what you're seeing there is an increase in the number of students out for COVID-related absences and coming back up. The way we are able to do our attendance this year, this is not counting against our chronic absenteeism, but it actually represents the students who are on site in building. So Region 7 students are not counted in this number at all because they're not actually part of our current daily attendance rates. But these specifically have to do with the number of students that were out. So we dipped into about 80% attendance rate there for a day or so. And then we have been able very quickly, just as quickly as we dropped, work their way back up. So you're seeing those numbers, which is a very good trend to be back in, as it kind of represents where we were as a county as a whole.
Right.
And it probably is very similar to where the high school was. So those are kind of good numbers to look at. Hopefully it'll continue to rise up and up and up and up and up and to back to where we were. So, but that is a 4-year average, so you can see where it dips out. Thing to point out on those is that each line is not representative of the same dates in a year, but it's actually that number of week within the school year. So that's just a little piece for you to see when you go through that graph. Key events, students, faculty, and staff appreciate Mr. Mead and the board for their fall break. The only thing we could have asked for was 4 more days. I was told to say that, but you know. Not by Miss Blessing. Never. It's totally her. It was totally her. With the math and reading growth assessments, I'm like, why can't I read this? Okay, there we go. The math and reading growth assessments for grade 3 through 6 have, for the most part, been completed. The cutoff date for those is this coming Friday. So we've tested every 3rd through 6th grader in math and reading to kind of work through that and see what our numbers look like. This is not currently an accreditation piece, but it certainly is a requirement coming out of the state. And I'm interested to see how our numbers compare against other divisions within our CIP divisions anyway, where Mr. Hurt can help, or Dr. Hurt can help us work through those numbers to see how we compare as we move into this year. Knowing that last year was a challenging year to begin with, It should be interesting data that once we get that back from the state. Unfortunately, we were not able to participate in the Festival of Leaves this year. We were asked to kind of step back. Usually we prepare all kinds of artwork for that. We'd actually started preparing artwork when they came out and said, yeah, time out. We don't really have a venue that's going to be able to work this year, but we're definitely going to keep you on the bill for next year. And so we're excited to be able to do that. We might save a couple of the ideal projects if we can find a good storage spot for them. But some people made some really lovely onions. Were those onions? Yeah, they're orange. Orange onions, yes. If you'd feel free to stop by the building one day to see Miss Blessing. I'm so glad you come to these meetings. I can divert the attention from myself. Yeah. So that you can see kind of the projects that were started by our classes. Plans and moving forward, we have a flu vaccination clinic provided by the Blaine County Department of Health is planned for October 19th. We have first quarter ends October the 22nd. And then all summer projects are nearly completed. Just a few tweaking here and there. Some wires needed to be run to some heaters that were mounted this last weekend. It was kind of nice to walk into the building this morning and say, hey, that's new. So we're getting ready for that cold weather to come in. And everything will be completed. We have one request for a math tutor still that's been posted, and that may be taken care of as early as tomorrow, once we kind of finalize some information there for one of our candidates. And then things moving forward, I think we're still ready for the rekey project if that's a possibility. We just need to find basically how we want to put that request to vendors out there. And then I think things have been kind of, for us, stable for JDM, although we still have a bit of concerns. But as we try to communicate as much as possible with them, things have gotten a little better. I also kind of have tightened my expectations a little bit for the 4 folks we have within our building consistently, and that helped in the last month quite a bit. And I think you've probably, if you've been in the building, have seen that. So I appreciate your time, and do you have any questions? That's perfect.
This is a question maybe division-wide. The e-backpack program that we sponsored and had somebody on staff, I was thinking about that the other day. Is that still visible in the system, or is that something that we've totally phased out?
We have not phased out. So initially the problem, it's not been able to follow through within our building. I can't speak about the high school because construction had pushed the equipment out of the room it was in, and that was the last space that they got completed, I think this last weekend, to actually get the vents up because it was cutting through concrete to put vents through. So the clinic had removed that material or those items, the technology out of that space. We actually were able to contact them this week, or actually started the process last week. I think finally got through to them this week to see if we can get that back into place so we can continue out the rest of that grant that's in place, because we really would like to be able to put that service in place for our kids. I know a lot of our students, if we have health concerns, are going home for COVID-related pieces, but we have a very qualified nurse who can be able to tell the difference between those. And if we can provide that service, we want to be able to do that. So we're hoping to take the money that's remaining in the grant and stretch that through the remainder of the school year. So
I think it's worked really good at the elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
So
You get the email from Ms. Bailey today?
I saw that, yes. Yeah. So
How many, so you have 10 kids out now, you said, for COVID?
yeah, and those numbers,
It's related.
some of those students will be returning as early as tomorrow,
All
just
right.
based upon that.
Any, as far as classes, quarantine, nothing like that?
No,
Just-
we've had some so the biggest piece for us is we have almost no data showing that we've had contact or, I guess, contagion
Transmission.
passing through the school.
Yeah.
The biggest reason for that is we're following the guidelines provided by Virginia Department of Health. And when you give me rules, it's really easy to follow them. And so the masks and the distancing and all those pieces in place have made it real easy for us to go back and figure out what's going on there.
Good.
When we needed to communicate with parents, we make that as quick and as direct as possible so it goes out to the people who need to know.
Great.
And we've tried to answer questions as they come up and provide the Virginia Department of Health as a resource as well. So we're getting through it. Hopefully we're past the surge.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, thank you.
You have,
Dollar's covering volleyball tonight. He sent in his updates. Educational performance, his enrollment's at 372. He has 4 students in quarantine, and one of those students are currently positive. No staff's quarantined. Again, like Mike, growth assessments have been completed for the 7th and 8th grade students. Now you got the first quarter benchmarks coming, so still testing some more. He asked that more training in Mastery Connects be held. Key events, Troy Bradshaw and Samuel Kennedy both placed first in the state of Virginia Skills USA competitions. Troy won cabinet making and Samuel won masonry bricklaying. Our band has been phenomenal and won a slew of awards over the past 2 weekends.
What's the definition of slew? A lot, okay, good.
Oh, Bailey!
A whole bunch.
Our band also played at the Festival of Leaves for the community. FBLA attended fall conference at Bluefield University. All students took 3 business-related courses to better align their business careers. Middle school football has ended. Middle school basketball has begun. John Hagan was hired as our new middle school boys basketball coach.
Who did that? Who thought that was a good idea?
John, big boy.
Oh.
Our cheerleading team got to visit Virginia Tech to be with the Hokies cheerleading team and learn more about their collegiate cheer. It's homecoming week. The parade and powder puff games are slated for Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Homecoming king and queen will be announced at halftime of Friday's football game against Auburn. Plans moving forward, we still need a vocational driver for morning VOTEC that can leave earlier. Needs to leave at 8 a.m. and we're currently leaving at 8:30. We implemented the English tutor and are currently seeking a qualified math tutor. Quarantine students who have returned are in the need of the most. JDM is improving evening custodial coverage. Then although there is room for improvement, multiple teachers have commented on improved performance by the custodians. Board help, internet to the athletic fields for streaming services, and also ability to install security cameras at some point down the road. In an effort to continuously be better and make improvements, I believe we would benefit from an outside organization evaluate our safety and lockdown procedures to help us better protect our staff and students in the event of a catastrophe. That was from Tyler.
As far as the coaches, have we, because like I said, I don't know that we've done any approving of coaches over the past year, much, like as far as evaluations and
You're
assessment.
talking evaluations. not-
Yeah, evaluations and assessments. I mean, I think we talked about that a couple board meetings ago, but we still haven't heard anything about that. That's usually something, we had a schedule that, each,
Yeah,
at the end of
when are
each-
the next group of coaches we need to approve?
You've approved.
yeah, the budget book. Yeah, the budget book has all that information in there because,
I think we've approved nearly all coaches, haven't we, for the
I
year?
mean,
We haven't?
Sorry.
I think,
Yeah.
are you asking to see evaluations at the
yeah,
end
no,
of
I'm
each
just
season?
wondering, we haven't heard it, I haven't heard of any kind of evaluations, any changes, I mean, other than,
We're
usually,
probably nearing the time we
like we
spring.
talked about, like right after the basketball season, girls, boys, whatever, it'd be the evaluation of the coaching, and then we would make it, we don't even have to approve them as long as it's, I think we had that in there, as long as everything was good, but I never heard of any kind of evaluation or anything, and I just wanted to make sure.
The fall sports will be coming to an end here shortly, probably
Okay.
around mid-November. And so then those evaluations can be reviewed.
I don't know that we done any last year. And I know it's a tough
We
year, I
didn't,
mean, it
we
was a hard
didn't play a
year.
lot of sports last year, did
We
we?
didn't play on it.
We didn't play long.
No. All right.
Okay, special services? Laura?
So I have just one thing to report on, something new. I have been working with a group called Vector, and we are just finalized a contract with them to provide some professional development for our teachers. This will be an online format that we'll be able to use, that I'll be able to do professional development. So will the principals with all of our staff, bus drivers, paras, teachers, special education teachers. So it's a professional development piece that we're adding in. So that's the only thing new that I have for you. So do you guys have anything for me? Good? Okay.
No.
Thank you.
Technology? Okay.
Just some updates. Everything for the internet at the bus garage, except for 2 items, is either shipped or I've already received it. Mr. Mead, you had some Appalachian Power you're waiting on or something?
I was gonna tell them about that.
Yeah, okay. The conduit, everything is here. We're just waiting on getting it started. The doors in Building B, Jonathan's been working on. There's a power issue. He's working to get that repaired. And the sign at the high school, the panels have no power, and we've sent those panels off to be repaired. And as soon as they're repaired, they've received them. We'll put them back up. We've implemented our new antivirus software. Jonathan and Mike have been working to get that in place. And every day we're repairing Chromebooks. So we're kept pretty busy. So, any questions?
Nope, sounds good. The panels on the sign, did they just fail or were they damaged? Or?
It's a power issue. That's why we had to ship them back to them so they could take a look at them.
Okay, Scott, Superintendent.
Okay. Ms. Radford and I attended a meeting last Friday that I thought was a really good meeting. It was on school law. It was presented by Dr. David Alexander from Virginia Tech. And he basically just listed some hot topics, things that we've been dealing with in the past 3 or 4 months. And he also provided us with cases of how it was handled in the rulings by judges. And I won't go into detail, but there's a few interesting things that I could share with you later. Laura could too, but it was a very beneficial meeting. Anytime you can go, anything with school law, it's good. And David Alexander has been around a long time. Yeah, our band did pretty daggone good. Let me,
A slew of awards.
let me read some of these things to you. Congratulations to the Pride of Bland County Marching Band for an amazing performance at the Bland County Festival of Leaves and at the 2021 George Wythe Band Festival. Our band received the following ratings in competition: first place in music, first place in marching, first place in general effect, first place drum major, first place color guard, second place percussion, first place band overall in Class 2A, best band in Class A, best band in Class 2A, second place competitive band overall classes in A to 3A, and second place in band of the day, and the second highest rating possible given to any band, a Division II overall rating of excellent.
Yep, that's good.
A special congratulations went to Mr. Perdue, who also won the 2021 Dale Hedrick Leadership Award at this year's competition. This award is given to band directors who embody the ideas of the late Dale Hedrick, who dedicated his life to his band students, his band program, and music education in Southwest Virginia. We should be deeply honored for our school's director and to have received this award, and are so proud of our school to have been given this prestigious honor. So great job for our band. We have a band. Of course,
Of which you are a member, right?
well, yeah, and I think we probably could have won that 3A if I'd have been there, don't you?
Just that one little ding.
I played the rain stick. Yes, I'm practicing on that.
Been practicing on it. He's got the round one.
Sports updates, like middle school football is finished. They'd had a pretty good, I think a really good season. Our varsity football is still playing. I think we got, 5 games left? 4 or 5. This week is homecoming game. Try to make it out there to see the
Who's
homecoming.
going to win the Powder Puff game is what I want to know.
The Powder Puff game is Wednesday, right?
Tomorrow.
Is that juniors versus seniors? So who's going to win?
Golf is completed. Cross country is completed. I attended, covered volleyball the other night, thoroughly enjoyed it. Don't know a thing about volleyball, but I really enjoyed it. Our girls seemed to not only compete hard, but had a good time doing it. And that really touched my heart to see them play that well. Yeah, we did the growth assessments. Growth assessments, take them now, and then in the spring you take them again to see how we improved. This is also combined with our benchmarks and SOL testing, so we're testing our kids pretty hard. We'll see how that works. If you noticed, Mr. French and his crew have been working hard here at the school board office, trying to spruce this place up. This is an old building. They've worked on the roof. They've stopped leaks that's been there for years. They've painted rooms. They're doing some flooring for us, and I take my hat off to that crew. They've done an excellent job, just like they did at the elementary school. I hope we continue with our relationship with them, and I've really enjoyed having those guys here.
Have you been, talk to him about possibly this summer, and then once we start on the high school?
Yes. Yeah.
We actually have talked to them, we had a major pipe break down at the field house.
Yeah.
And we're talking to them about replumbing the entire field house.
Okay.
And they've also are in the process of making 8 benches for the locker rooms at the high school, 4 for the ladies and 4 for the men.
They done those?
So you,
They've already done those, haven't they?
no,
Okay.
no.
Well, it's
So
coming.
you can sit down to change, put your shoes on instead of stand up to put your shoes on.
I think everybody is like that.
Get ready for winter. I've asked principals to work on their call schedules. I think they're ready, but I don't think I am. So we need to work on that as well to get ready for our call schedules and get everything ready to send out when we have inclement weather. The AEP I have an order in, and they have to October 18th to mark that, Miss Utility, is that what you call? And they'll be marking it from the corner of this building all the way down. We're not sure which route we're going to take. We're not sure if we're going to if we can go down by the road that way with all the water lines and stuff. We may have to go this and come out and go around the ball fields to get into it that way. But there again, Mr. French has got a plan. He's got a backup plan. And as soon as Miss Utility does their thing, then we'll be able to start on that. So they have to the 18th. COVID cases have gone down. I got a report today from Mount Rogers Health District. I won't bore you with all of it, but I'll just read to you how they've gone down. September 5th through 11th, we had 68 active cases. 30 of those were kids under the age of 18. September 12th through 18th, 57 active cases, 24 under the age of 18. September 19th, 25th, 48, 12 under the age of 18. September 26th to October 2nd, 33, 11 under the age of 18. The one I got today is October 3rd through 9th. We have 14 active cases, and 5 of those are under the age of 19. So
Excellent.
I think we've had a lot of opposition to our phases and the policies we have in place, but just like Mike said, this is proof I think it's working. So sometimes it's hard to argue with science. But anyway, I think a positive thing happened yesterday. We acknowledged that all of our system has worked hard the last couple of years, and blood, sweat, and tears, and those kind of things. To give our teachers and our staff and our folks the day off was really nice, and just a way that I can say that we as a board and superintendent appreciate the job that you do. I'm done, sir.
Okay, student representatives.
You guys get to go to the mic.
So what position are you playing in this game?
I'm the first chair flute. And
No, on the Potter Puck
Football
game.
game.
oh, I'm not playing at all. I'm banned. That's
She cheered.
about it.
She's gonna be the cheerleader, that's why she needed the
Actually, the
juniors.
boys are the cheerleaders.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, as Mr. Mead said, the band has won a slew of awards. With our past 2 competitions, we have 2 more coming up, and this weekend we're going to Salem High School. I'd say our best awards, because there's been a lot of them, so I don't want to waste time just listing all of them. I would say that our best awards have been at Lonesome Pine. We got Reserve Grand Champion, which is the 2nd overall in all divisions out of like 8 to 10 bands. We were only beat by like 3 points, I think. But we also got a superior rating, which is the highest rating a band can get. And then at George Wythe, we got first in class at both Lonesome Pine and George Wythe, and a rating of excellent at the George Wythe competition, but it was so close to a superior, it was by an 1/8 of a point away from getting a superior rating. So we're striving to get that 1/8 of a point taken care of so we can get a superior at Salem. And then Mr. Purdue's Dale Hendrick Award. We were all super proud of him whenever he got that. So we even started chanting his name and got some of the other bands to start chanting his name for him. And then I think something else that's notable to add is that our percussion, even though they got 2nd at this last competition, they went up by 12 points, which is unheard of for competitions. Like, our drum major, she went up in 2 points. That's great. That's wonderful news. But 12 points in one division with only 1 week is insane. So we're insanely proud of our percussion for doing that well. Another thing is I have spoken to many of the students about their opinions on block schedule, and the majority of them are against it. I have spoken with a student who has transferred from a block schedule, and they said that they preferred the traditional to the block because the course material doesn't seem to be rushed, and the bonds between the teacher and the student are very strong compared to those in the block schedule, and they feel that it's a better learning environment for them personally. My last thing is that it's homecoming week, so Spirit Week is happening, and it was really fun to come to school today and see everyone dressed up as either a hero or a villain. And
So which were you?
I was the student representative.
Evil student representative.
Is that a hero or a villain? That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's evil.
I know the seniors and the juniors are excited for the Powder Puff game tomorrow, and I'm personally rooting for the juniors because I'm a little bit biased. But that's all I have. So.
Okay. Well, we're all proud of the band. We couldn't, I
Yes,
mean,
we are.
Thank you.
it's just amazing what you guys have accomplished.
Yeah, I've been to band competitions when my kids were in school, and they're exciting. The band was much smaller then, and to hear the awards and how the band's grown and the job that Jared has done, Mr. Purdue's done, is just over this small time, it's phenomenal. He's done a great job.
Mine's going to be a little bit short. As the board knows that we have lost a coach on the football team. It was a bit of a hard hit for us because, that coach was a very inspirational member to our team. Not only was he a coach, but he was a part of our family. And we're still trying to cope from what happened, but that's not going to break our brotherhood and the family we have. We're doing good so far mentally, and we're having some good practice and some final games coming up. And a little bit about the Powerpuff game. I'm not biased towards the seniors or the juniors, but the juniors got a lot of speed towards them. So I think the juniors are going to win this one.
If we're going to place any money, put it on the juniors.
I'll put like $1. We'll go from there. And going to school today, it's homecoming week. I got to see a bunch of little Hulk people, which was kind of interesting. Like Iron Man, they had a whole costume outfit, like muscles and everything. And just really interesting. And tomorrow is Western Day, and I'm going to participate in that, so yeehaw. So,
gonna be
yeah, I
the
can't
sheriff.
wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see Blaine County show its true colors, being Western.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
What's Thursday?
Oh,
Disney Day. And Friday is blue and orange day.
You said that correctly.
Blue
Blue and orange.
Blue and orange,
Orange.
Bears Day.
Blue and orange.
Okay, school board. Philip?
Man, I tell you what, it's been great to see our community kind of get back to some normalcy, normal events, football, seeing our band perform at last week's game, and I just want to encourage everybody, go out and support. You know, you may not be able to get to a lot of these games and so forth, but sometimes one of the ways that we can support our students, even in their academics, is supporting them in athletics as well. So whether you're able to make it out to whatever game, go out there and support them and cheer them on. But it's been great to see our community come alive. This week the festival of leaves, and for the last couple of weeks here in the county, especially in our different athletic programs. So I'm just here to cheer them on, and glad to see it, and I'm happy for all of them and their success. And we're wishing the best to each and every one of our stakeholders, and we're here to support you. Thank you.
Sharon?
That's for, Mr. Purdue sent us those things the other day, and it was really nice. We've gotten two, but it was really special that you guys have accomplished what you have, and we're really, really proud of you, as well as everybody, all the sports teams, like you said, and all the teachers and everybody. We really appreciate everything that you do. And we're looking forward to having a very successful year, hopefully. Okay.
Wayne?
Piggyback off of both of those. I always get to piggyback off of you guys. So,
Sure.
but really, just not just proud of the band. Like I said, my kids were in it, so I always enjoyed the band competitions. They are a blast when you go. The kids are just great. But the football, all the things that the kids get involved in, and just proud the way they represent the county and stuff. And I'm proud of our county, the teachers, the board office, even us board members, through this past year of how tough it's been, but the things that we've accomplished as far as the elementary school, finding new assets as far as the crews that's been helping from the prison and stuff. I mean, we've really had a lot of things come together to help us get through this year. We've accomplished a whole lot in a tough year, and just, you know, as Sharon said, looking for a more successful year, looking to be able to get some things started at high school next year, get some things started there, and just glad the year seems to maybe hitting a groove here we can get into for a while. So.
Yeah, I think in the discussions on the block schedule, one of the things I was most impressed with was the continual return to the relationship between the teachers and the students. And I think that's something that's very critical, and this county does very well, is this is truly a family, and people support each other, and that's very different than in a lot of places where schools exist. So we want to make sure we don't injure that in any way. Doesn't mean we're not going to ask the hard questions at times, but the relationships are key in our mind. So we thank everybody and all the work that's been done. And last couple of years have just been a lot of plowing new ground with all the things that have happened. So everybody's really stepped up and done a great job. Okay, action agenda. First action is to approve payments. Any question on any of the payments?
I don't have any.
I don't have any.
I could have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the payments.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. Maintenance projects. I tell you, I can't be prouder of what we were able to accomplish this summer in getting rid of the coal-fired heat and having individual rooms with heating, cooling, humidity control, air makeup, all of that. To do that in the period of time with the amount of upgrades and wiring we had to do. And then on top of it, kind of the icing was for the prisoners, the inmates to come over and step up and patch the holes in the building with the masonry and do all the painting and do the artwork. It was just a tremendous project. And Mr. Grimm, I want to recognize you. I know almost every day in the summer, you had to run someplace and get somebody something.
That's really always hard to leave work.
To be a gopher, right?
And we bought every Lowe's out of paint within a 100-mile radius, so it's, but the school looks like a continuous school now, but where before you could tell this was built and that was built, now it looks like it was all designed to go together. And the rooms are just amazing in what's done. And we got the last of the the last of the heat pumps done over the weekend. They hung most of the heaters on the entries I think on Monday. And they've still got to do some wiring in on that. But actually Monday, they loved the fact that we were off Monday. They had 3 different crews in there from with sheet metal finalizing things. So it's been great. And a lot of other projects have gone on, and we are proud on the improvements we've done on the buildings. And this building looks tremendously different. Now if we can get some things done down on the sports complex, this water line wasn't something we definitely did not want to happen, but now that the ceilings are out of the way, hopefully we can correct the plumbing problems that we've had continual failures with. We are looking at some other projects. We've got some potential money that we either get or gets given to somebody else. And it's about $200,000 for heating, cooling from the state of Virginia. So we'll be working on that program. And we're also trying to prepare the area for the dental office over there at the elementary school. Okay, science textbooks. We need to approve the expenditure on the science textbooks.
This is physical and life science, I think.
It's, if I'm reading, well, let's see, is that a total?
Physical student, middle school.
14,253.28 will come out of the textbook fund.
Yes.
If I could have a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. We need to fill a vacancy on the quill board in Mr. Buttry's area. I think you have a recommendation.
Did you have a better? Miss Linda Harmon has submitted her resignation, and so what we need to do tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, is to approve her resignation from the board, right?
Yes.
To accept it.
And then the bylaws say we run an ad accepting public nominations for 2 weeks.
Okay, so tonight we need to accept the resignation.
Yes.
Need a motion to accept Ms. Harmon's resignation.
I make the motion to accept Miss Harmon's resignation and to offer our sincere gratitude for her service.
Yeah, she did a great job. Yeah.
I'll second.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
4. We have a lot of items in the school system that we would like to surplus, and there's been concerns in the past that maybe it wasn't done in as equitable way as possible, so we've put together a new policy to surplus where anything being surplus will be put on, Lenore, you tell me the sites.
Blaine County Public Schools.
Blaine County website and
And the Facebook.
Facebook.
In the Facebook, and it'll be on there 2 weeks. If you'd like to bid on it, you turn in a bid to the school board office, and then the date defined on the posting, they'll be opened up and you'll be told if you have the item. So that way, everybody, there's actually sites we could put stuff on that leave the county. We felt that the county should have first shot at all this stuff. So that is the new policy in a nutshell. So I think we've all read it. Are you guys ready to approve the policy?
Yeah.
If I could have a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the disposal of surplus items policy.
I'll second.
Mr. Petrie,
4.
Mr. Bailey,
4.
Ms. Puckett,
4.
Mr. Shepherd.
I want to talk a little bit about the phase approach on COVID, and Mr. Grimm gave us this chart, and you can see the green, and you can see why we've been doing what we've been doing. And we've been very effective in not making the schools a transmission point. But if you look at this, hopefully in a very short period of time, we can be back up to, I'll say, the normal level. So Mr. Mead, the board has given Mr. Mead instruction to look at this on a weekly basis. And we would love to go to phase 2, where students don't have to wear masks in the class. We're just not quite there yet. We've still got 10 students out in elementary. High school is getting close with 3 students out. Hopefully in a week or 2, we can get to that. And like I say, it will be looked at weekly. And as soon as, he'll make a recommendation to the board, it won't wait for a meeting. We'll do it online. And we'll try and get back to phase 2 as quick as we can. But we want to make sure that this thing doesn't turn the other direction on us.
Yep.
Anybody want to comment on that?
We appreciate all the kids and teachers and everybody
Hopefully we get-
adjusting to everything that they've had to go through. But as you well see, and like Mr. Grimm said, it has produced results. So hopefully we'll get over it in a little while, maybe. And go
Yeah,
back
I
to-
hope we don't have a bad flu season this year.
Right.
Okay, cafeteria debt policy. This is the meeting where we review the new policy, and it will be voted on the next meeting. Are you comfortable with where we're at? Would you like it read, or what do we want to do here?
I'll do a first reading, and then at the next meeting, you all be prepared to vote on it. This is a memorandum from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Virginia Department of Education, from Dr. Lane. School boards required to develop policy related to student meal debt. The purpose of this memorandum is to notify school divisions of the passage of the enactment of House Bill 2013 during the 2021 Special Session 1 of the Virginia General Assembly. This bill amends 22.1-79.7 of the Code of Virginia to require school boards to adopt policies that prohibit the board from filing a lawsuit against a student or student's parents because a student cannot pay for a meal at school or owes a school meal debt. This legislation went into effect on July 1st, 2021. As of July 1, 2017, all school fund authorities operating the National School Lunch Program and/or the School Breakfast Program must have written unpaid meal charge policies, including collection procedures for unpaid debt. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, recognizes the importance of allowing local discretion when developing these policies. The USDA developed policy memos and a summary of best practices and positive approaches to help SFAs develop these required unpaid meal charge policies. School divisions are encouraged to explore alternate means of repayment of student meal debt, such as donation or general funds to the school nutritional department, since federal funds cannot be used to repay debt. That's your first reading, and you'll be prepared to comment and vote on it to the next school board meeting.
Okay, personnel, we have one resignation. Do I have a motion to accept the resignation?
Yeah, I'll make the motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Mr. Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Paul. And that completes the agenda. If I-
What
I
about
had,
these things?
I had,
Right
Okay.
there. We got a
personnel
paraprofessional.
recommendations for a paraprofessional and two substitutes
Yeah. That,
to
yeah,
approve.
Here.
She added.
he's got it.
Do you have one?
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, I was looking at the computer. Who should look at the computer?
Paper.
Okay,
We just need to approve. that.
Yeah, so we just need to, I'll make a motion to accept the personnel recommendations for paraprofessional and substitutes.
Second.
Mr. Bailey?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
4.
Mr. Petrie? Mr. Shepherd?
thank you. Sorry about that.
That's right.
No problem.
Anything else? I'll ask this time.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Go ahead.
4.
Petrie?
4.
Ms. Puckett?
4.
Mr. Shepherd?
Thank you all.
Appreciate everybody being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.